There's a body language signal that reveals who someone actually wants, even while they're talking to someone else entirely. It's called the compass clue. Most people think eyes give it away first, but they don't. The body points before the eyes ever do. Watch someone's feet and shoulders at a party, and you'll see exactly who they're drawn to. Let's start with the basics. What exactly is the compass clue? Every part of your body has a natural resting orientation. Your shoulders, your hips, your feet, they all tend to face the same direction. Normally, that direction points toward whatever's holding your attention. Think of it like a compass needle, always quietly settling toward true north. For your body, true north is whatever, or whoever, you're actually interested in. Researchers studying nonverbal communication have long known that body orientation reveals attention. Long before we consciously decide to face someone, our body has already decided for us. This isn't some mystical sixth sense, it's basic biomechanics. Bodies are simply more efficient when they align with what they're focused on. Turning your whole body towards something takes less effort than constantly correcting a half-turned stance. So the compass isn't trying to hide anything, it's just following the path of least resistance. And that path almost always leads straight to genuine interest. The face is actually the easiest part of the body to control. We're trained from childhood to look polite, to nod, to maintain eye contact. But shoulders, hips, and feet, almost nobody thinks to manage those. So while your face performs politeness, your compass quietly points at the truth. This is why body language experts often say, don't just watch the face, watch the feet. The feet are usually the last thing anyone consciously controls in a conversation. So here's the real question, does this compass ever lie? Not exactly, but it can get confused by other things, like nerves or crowded spaces. Still, in a calm, normal conversation, the compass is remarkably consistent. Even trained actors, people paid to control their body language, struggle to fully override it. Their face might convincingly show interest, but their feet often drift, just slightly, toward the exit. That drift is almost impossible to fully suppress. Which brings us to something even more interesting. This clue doesn't just work one-on-one. It works even when someone is technically facing and talking to someone else entirely. Which means the compass can reveal interest that isn't even meant to be visible. That's exactly where this gets fascinating. Picture this, you're at a party, standing near two people mid-conversation. One of them, let's call her Maya, is nodding along, laughing at the right moments. On the surface, she looks completely locked into the conversation. But look down at her feet for a second. Her feet aren't pointed at the person she's talking to. They're angled, just slightly, towards someone else across the room. Her shoulders follow the same quiet direction. Her face is doing exactly what a polite conversation requires. But her compass is pointing somewhere else entirely. This happens constantly, at parties, at work events, in group conversations, everywhere. And almost nobody notices it happening, not even the person doing it. Maya has no idea her feet are giving away where her real interest is. She's not being rude, she's not even aware of it. Her nervous system made the decision long before her conscious mind caught up. This is the exact mechanism researchers point to when they talk about unconscious orientation. The brain prioritizes what it finds most interesting, and the body quietly follows. Now widen the picture. Look around the rest of the party for a second. You'll probably spot 2 or 3 more compasses quietly doing the exact same thing. A guy laughing at the bar, his feet already turned toward someone across the room. A woman sipping her drink, her shoulders angled toward a conversation happening behind her. Once you start looking, you realize almost everyone is broadcasting this, all the time. Words can be managed, chosen carefully, rehearsed even. But full body orientation happens on a level words simply can't reach. So the real question becomes, can someone learn to fake this? Some people try, actors, salespeople, anyone trained in first impressions. But full control over shoulders, hips and feet all at once is incredibly hard to sustain. Something almost always slips, especially the moment attention shifts unexpectedly. Which brings us to the most reliable version of this clue. The version that's almost impossible to fake, even on purpose. It only shows up in one very specific moment. And that moment is coming up next. Here it is, the moment the compass clue becomes almost impossible to hide. It happens in the first half second after someone is unexpectedly startled or surprised. Think about what happens when someone hears their name called across a crowded room. For a fraction of a second, before any thought kicks in, the whole body reacts. Shoulders, hips, and feet all begin to shift, instantly, involuntarily. And where they shift toward reveals something incredibly honest. This happens faster than conscious control can intervene. Neuroscientists call this an orienting response, a reflex older than language itself. It exists to help us react to threats or opportunities before we even think. In social situations, that same ancient reflex reveals attraction just as clearly. This reflex exists in nearly every social animal, not just humans. It's the same reaction that makes an animal's head snap towards sudden movement in the wild. We've simply inherited that ancient wiring, just repurposed for crowded rooms instead of open fields. Which is exactly why it's so hard to consciously override. You're not fighting a habit, you're fighting millions of years of instinct. If someone's whole body instinctively angles toward you the moment they're startled, that's rarely random. It's one of the few moments the compass can't be consciously managed at all. By the time the face catches up and arranges a polite reaction, the body already spoke first. This is why body language experts consider the startled moment the gold standard of honesty. Everything before it can be shaped, softened, performed. That first half second cannot. So the compass clue isn't really about watching someone constantly. It's about paying attention to that one unguarded instant. The instant right after surprise, before composure returns. It's a tiny window, but it's remarkably telling. Most people never even notice it happening in themselves. Now, an important caveat before you start reading every stray glance as a signal. Body orientation can shift for plenty of reasons that have nothing to do with attraction. A door opening, a loud noise, someone walking by, all of these can redirect the compass too. Context always matters here, just as much as the direction itself. Crowded, chaotic environments make this signal noisier, harder to isolate. A quiet, calm setting will always give you a clearer read. The key is consistency. Does the compass keep returning to the same person again and again? A one-time shift means very little on its own. A repeated pattern, especially across different moments, is much harder to explain away. Like every signal we've covered on this channel, this one works best combined with others. Combine it with eye contact, with tone of voice, with the signals already covered before. Together, they form a much clearer picture than any single clue alone. So how do you actually use this in real life? Next time you're in a group setting, resist the urge to only watch faces. Let your eyes drift down, just briefly, to feet and shoulders. Notice where people naturally settle when they're not actively performing politeness. This works especially well in group photos. Notice where feet point right before the picture is taken. That split second often reveals more than the pose everyone's holding for the camera. You'll start noticing compass shifts you never paid attention to before. It's a small habit, but it changes how much you actually pick up in a room. Once you see it, you genuinely can't unsee it. Let's quickly recap what we covered today. The compass clue is the body's natural tendency to orient toward true interest. Shoulders, hips, and feet reveal this long before the face ever does. It shows up even when someone is technically facing someone else entirely. And it becomes almost impossible to fake in the half second after someone is startled. That brief, involuntary reaction is the most honest version of the compass there is. Context still matters. One shift means little, a repeated pattern means much more. None of this is about spying on people, it's simply about noticing what's already there. And like most body language signals, it works best alongside everything else you already know. The body has a way of pointing toward the truth, long before words catch up. Now you know exactly where to look. If this helped you read a room a little more clearly, hit subscribe for more videos like this one. We break down psychology, body language, and human behavior every single week. The next time you walk into a crowded room, try it. Watch the feet before you watch the face. See you in the next one.